Hello, hello, and welcome to Decaf, a production of the Beacon Center of Tennessee. We're back. It is officially winter in Tennessee. We are cold here, but it is a lovely time. And I've got my buddy Wen joining me because he's so much nicer to me than Mark is. And I just really much prefer your presence, Wen. So thank you for joining me today.
Great. Always a pleasure to be here.
I love it. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was very good. Watched Michigan beat Ohio State. Closer game than I would have liked, but that was great.
Sure.
And I ate turkey for, I would say, 4 to 5 straight days. So that was good.
Yes, I still have leftovers in my fridge, and I know that might sound gross, but it is only a week out, and I think that mashed potatoes are just like invincible, and they live forever, and I can just eat them as long as I want, right? Don't burst my bubble.
I agree. I mean, I'm not a health expert, but that would be my advice.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the FDA, but who are they even? Like we don't buy into their stuff either. Well, I had a fun Thanksgiving and a fun week leading up to Thanksgiving. A lot to be thankful for this year. If you're watching the broadcast, you will see that I'm flashing something very shiny. Blake and I are engaged, and I will be a bride next June. And where better to announce it than on Decaf, where y'all have heard about Mark ridiculing me for my terrible decisions in men until I met Blake, and all about my trash TV that I have looped him into. So I'm just so excited. I mean, look at that thing, Win. He did a good job.
That's amazing. I mean, I've never personally met Blake. He sounds like a great guy, but I would compare him to, I would say, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, or another Alabama receiver because he's getting himself a catch.
Win, that's the nicest thing ever. Am I about to cry on this podcast? That was the sweetest thing anyone's ever said. I hope Mark's listening and sees how nice you're being to me because he never would say something like that. That was so nice. Thank you. We will be, and listen, my new last name fits with our job perfectly. We will be the Justices. Think about that. Like, that's pretty sick. I mean, you got a cool name, but like, the Justices. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll take it. Something else that we're really thankful and excited about, just earlier this week on Tuesday, Governor Lee announced his plans for a massive statewide ESA program. But this is maybe that, I mean, if Blake is listening, I'm sorry, this rivals the engagement news that I have because we've all wanted this for so long. And if you didn't get a chance to watch Governor Lee's press conference, there are clips of it all over the internet. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders came in, talked some smack because Arkansas beat us when it came to a statewide ESA program. So she came in and talked some gentle smack, which was really cute and sweet and charming and funny. But then they had parents get up there and speak, and parents who are participating in the program and have seen how important it is to their children. And if it doesn't tug at your heartstrings, then I don't know what will. And we don't know the exact details of any of the program yet. I actually asked one of our policy team members to like help me respond to these questions about it. And he was like, we don't really know. We just know that this is going to be a huge ESA opportunity for all students. We won't really know until January what all the program includes, but we do know 77% of parents, based on our July poll, 77% of parents want more options for their children. And I think this is huge. When are you as like flying to the moon as I am about this?
I'm a huge supporter of school choice. I think that, I think public schools are a great option for a lot of students, but they're not a great option for every student. And, just as we've seen the marketplace really produce benefits for individuals in a lot of other contexts, I think having a variety of schools to choose from is just going to be a great thing for parents and students, and that children can go to the best school that fit their individual needs. Because at the end of the day, that people are individuals, and you should really be able to go to schools and go to educational opportunities that really fit your personal aspirations and abilities.
Right. I mean, we get a choice about everything. We don't graduate from school and someone says, you have to work. It's, I think about it a lot, like with the Hunger Games, because we're about to go see that new movie where they have all these districts. It's like, well, you graduate in this district, you have to go work in this field or whatever. We don't live in a world like that. We live in a world where you graduate and you get to choose whatever you want to do. Why do we have to wait for that option until after school. These are a child's most formative years, and parents should be able to choose for them during this time. And a kid should be able to say, Mom, Dad, I'd like something else. And they should have the opportunity to do that. And I think it's really a beautiful thing. And public schools are great for some students, and it's what they need. And they want that kind of environment. And there are other kids that don't need that. And I think that this is just a step toward making sure that Tennessee keeps up with the rest of the country as far as how we protect and care about our children and want the best for them. I mean, I'm like over the moon about it. Like, I think that this is really huge, and you can read about what we've done. Since I have the legal guy on here, I'll plug our legal case page because we're about to do that in a second too. But we were really involved with the prior ESA program, the one that's in place right now in Davidson, Shelby, and Hamilton counties. Very involved with that, defended the program in the courts, prevailed, and the program is operating, and we're seeing lives changed already. If you don't believe me, go to our website and look for those stories and those testimonials of the lives that have been changed. But you'll be hearing a lot about this because we are absolutely thrilled about it. Thank you, Governor Lee. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to everyone who was there to make this thing happen. I'm pumped. When I think we should have champagne today.
I am as well. I think that my family immigrated to the United States because people around the world sees the United States as a land of opportunity. And, it's really sad that across the country in a lot of states, we're seeing children who have done nothing wrong stuck in failing public schools, and they have really no opportunity at a better education, which, as you've said, is so important. So, I'm already really proud of the work that Beacon and others have done to defend the right of students and parents in those counties that you were talking about. And I couldn't be more excited that this is potentially expanding statewide, because I think it will just provide not just an opportunity, but a lifeline for children across the state of Tennessee.
A lifeline for children that will ultimately funnel them into a very productive and incredible workforce for Tennessee, which can only help us build and build and build and be the best that we ever could be better than everybody else. So to Governor Sanders, who came over here and issued the smackdown the other day and said, catch up. We're coming for Arkansas. We are coming for Arkansas. It's a really exciting thing to see this type of opportunity in Tennessee. I'm just thrilled. Wen has also been issuing a smackdown or two in the legal system recently. We just launched a new case. It's been a couple of weeks, but we've been traveling like crazy people. But we launched a new case defending food truck owners in the surrounding Nashville area. The 3 food truck owners that we are defending are in the Davidson and surrounding areas. And before you get into the case, I just want to say what I keep saying to everyone. Food trucks are a winning issue, man. If you've not eaten at a food truck, you're missing out. People love food trucks, and we must protect them, because they give us the absolute gold that we need when we're at a street festival and you only have popcorn as an option. Why have popcorn? You can have empanadas. People love food trucks. They are innovative. They're providing for a service, and we should defend them. They're entrepreneurs. It is speaking to my soul. Everything we're talking about today is speaking to my soul, but it's speaking to my soul that we get to defend these food truck owners. So let's talk about the case, talk about what Mount Juliet did, and talk about how we're answering that.
Yeah, our clients are amazing entrepreneurs with great stories. They've helped out Mount Juliet. Actually, in 2020, Mount Juliet was devastated by a tornado. Food trucks rallied to Mount Juliet and helped residents recover from a tornado, giving out free food, and further helped during the coronavirus pandemic when a lot of the restaurants were shut down. Mount Juliet welcomed them with open arms back then, but then in an effort to protect brick and mortar businesses, they're keeping them out. And the law, I tell most people about the law and they don't believe it. So in an effort to protect brick and mortar businesses, Mount Juliet says, if the owner of your business resides in Mount Juliet, you have to pay $100 annual permit fee, which is pretty standard. But
Easy.
If your owner resides outside of Mount Juliet, even if they reside in a nearby city like Nashville, you have to pay $100 per day. And I think the obvious justification for this is they don't want individuals coming from Nashville driving food trucks, which are by definition mobile, to Mount Juliet.
Mobile food unit. That's
exactly
what they're like literally said in all the laws. Mobile food unit.
They don't want them to drive to Mount Juliet to serve Mount Juliet residents who, by the way, you know, as we've heard, Mount Juliet residents still from 3 years ago eating at these delicious award-winning food trucks still keep asking our clients, when are you going to come back? When are you going to come back? And they want to come back, but Mount Juliet is not allowing them to come back. And, you know, I think it's important to note this is a lawsuit because it is a part of your fundamental civil rights to be able to earn a living free from arbitrary and unreasonable government interference. And what could be more arbitrary and unreasonable than the government saying, well, we want to favor certain individuals because they're well connected to the government and we want to shut out outsiders.
It just makes absolutely no sense. Mount Juliet, I realize when I say this, people are probably going to come after me. I realize that Mount Juliet is its own thing, but like Suzanne lives in Mount Juliet, and by everything in my brain, she lives in Nashville. Like, we're all so close in here together. As Nashville gets more and more populated, people bleed out into those suburbs. But a lot of people say, oh, I'm in the Nashville area. And so it doesn't make sense for them to wall themselves off as this separate little thing and keep Nashville food truck owners or Brentwood or Franklin, or for that matter, any Hendersonville, wherever you might be coming from around there, Lebanon, out of Mount Juliet, because ultimately it's hurting the food truck owners, but it's also hurting their tax base and the people that they represent, because they're depriving them of the choice to eat these delicious pizza or delicious kimchi fried rice or delicious empanadas, to name our plaintiffs. But we really do have plaintiffs that have the most compelling and lovely stories. We shared a news story on our Facebook page yesterday. You should go watch it. We shared their stories on our website. You should go read about them. And you should look on the Food Truck Tracker websites to see when they're going to be around you and tell them how thankful you are that they're willing to fight for freedom. Because that's how I feel. Not only have I been eating food truck food in Nashville for the last 5 years, I'm so thankful that we have people who are willing to see an injustice and do something about it. It can't just be Wen and Ben and Justin, Stephanie, and me and the people in our office who want to do this. We can't just see a bad law and say, well, let's do something about it on our own. It takes people who are willing to put their lives and their names out there to fight for what's right, not just for them, but for all the other food trucks that might want to operate in Mount Juliet. And so I'm just impressed that we know such like stellar people who are willing to do this. And I'm always thankful that we get to, like, we have a cool job, Wen. Like, I know you're doing like the legal stuff. I just get to be their friend. We have a cool job getting to fight for these people.
We have, I'm so grateful because we have just an amazing job. I've done this, you know, I would say so many times and talked to entrepreneurs and clients who are willing to stand up for their civil rights. And every single time I am just inspired by their stories. One of our plaintiffs, Daniel, he runs Shivanadas, which that's, you know, he had a degree in entrepreneurship and he wanted to honor his heritage. He has spent his whole life in Middle Tennessee, but his family is from Colombia, and he was really inspired by Colombian style empanadas, and he wanted to bring that to Nashville. And in fact, Shivanadas, the Spanish art buses in Colombia, are called Shivas for goats. So he wanted Shivas and empanadas, Shivanadas. So it's just so inspiring, so innovative. These are the people that are, you know, our heroes, and they should really be American heroes to individuals all over the United States, including in Mount Juliet. And Mount Juliet is absolutely wrong to keep them out, and they're absolutely right to fight for their constitutional rights.
Yeah, Wen, you should be a motivational speaker. I'm feeling fired up. I love that. And now I really want some empanadas. I might look on Instagram and see where Daniel's truck is today and go down and get me some empanadas for lunch, because not only is he great, does he make great food, they're great people who are willing to fight. And we're just humbled to get to join them. I mean, this is their fight, and they're just letting us jump in the ring with them. And it's a very humbling thing to get to do. So you should, if you're listening to this right now and you haven't read about this case on our website or seen the News Channel 5 story, they interviewed Wen and Daniel the other day on News Channel 5 about this. It's the most compelling story you'll hear. And trust me, you don't want to miss all of the coverage that we're doing on this case. And hopefully it resolves quickly and easily. And we're confident that we will prevail in this, and that Mount Juliet taxpayers and foodies will get to enjoy some lovely food very, very soon, and without the outrageous expense to the food truck owners. There will be a lot more coming from our legal department. Wen hopped into this job with a mission and a vision and ready to party. And so there's going to be a lot more coming out. We have even more new things on our website, on our legal page website, that you should go and look at and explore. I think that what Wen is doing is launching cases so he can come on Decaf and talk about them. I don't know if that's like a measurable in your goals, but like, I think that that's what you're doing. And I respect it, because you're so much nicer to me than Mark is. So keep launching those cases, baby. I can't wait to do more of this. And I'm even going to let you talk about Michigan right now. Okay, listen, I'm just going to say this, and then Wen, you can do your thing. The Iron Bowl was ugly. Okay, I was on the floor. It was not a pretty game. We did come out on top. We had the grave digger, as they call that last play, where Auburn just, in classic Hugh Freeze style, couldn't win. Sorry about it. And now we are playing Georgia this week. I will be a bridesmaid in a wedding where the groom is a Georgia fan and the bride is a Michigan grad. So that's going to be an interesting wedding on Saturday. But I'll just say, I will never go for Georgia as long as I live. But win for you, go blue. I'll let you have it. What are your predictions for this big weekend, and how are you feeling after your euphoric win, which wasn't as good as it was last year, I have to say, but a win is a win?
Yeah, I'm glad Michigan pulled out the win, because I really thought that was a 50-50 game. It could have easily gone the other way. Props to Ohio State. I'm not a fan of Ohio State, but they have a great team. And in terms of, teams I don't want to face again, they would probably be third after only Georgia and Oregon. So I think they got a great team. Still, Michigan pulled out the W, so go blue. My predictions for this weekend, I think this weekend is going to be filled with some great and interesting games, and games with big playoff ramifications. I'm going Georgia over Alabama. Sorry, Taylor. I just think,
okay, fine.
I just think the Alabama team.
Come on.
I think the Alabama team is not as strong this year as it has been in the past. I think the Alabama dynasty is not quite over, but there is sort of a period. There are highs and lows, and this is a relatively low period for Alabama, which is great. I mean, I think it speaks to the high caliber of the Alabama program that this is a low time, and you're still in playoff contention.
That's true. And
Paul
Feinbaum said that they should let us in. So somebody listen to Paul.
So I think Georgia's going to win. I actually think Oregon is going to beat Washington this week, even though Washington won the first time. This time it's on a neutral field, and Washington's really been sputtering the second half of the season. Oregon's been doing amazing, and I think Oregon's going to beat Washington. Michigan is going to roll over Iowa, in my opinion. Iowa has no offense.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be really ugly.
And my final predictions are Texas is going to win, and Florida State and Louisville. I could see that going either way, but I think actually Florida State is going to surprise some people and win. And people are going to say that they shouldn't be in the playoffs because their quarterback is hurt, but they've won. They're undefeated, so they should.
They're winning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hard thing, and sometimes the beautiful thing for Alabama. When the BCS was the BCS, everyone freaked out because it was all based on like numbers and there was no committee really deciding who was in and who wasn't. Now with the College Football Playoff Committee, you've got humans in there making human decisions, and so when you do have an injured quarterback, you've got people who are probably trying to make the best television who are saying like, what's going to be good TV? Is it going to be Florida State that might get absolutely demolished because their quarterback's hurt? What's it going to be? And that's what happens when and this is what we wanted, though. I think my whole life, my dad and my mom were always like, oh, the BCS is trash. We wanted a playoff with the playoff committee. I just can't wait until the playoff is a little bit bigger. I can't wait until college football season lasts longer. I'm not an NFL girly. I'm trying. I will have to be by marriage come next June. I'll have to be an NFL girly. Their season goes a long time. Why can't we get more games? That's all I'm saying. So I can't wait until the playoff is a bit bigger.
Completely agree. And just to finish off my picks, I'll just give my playoff picks as well. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Michigan over Oregon in the Rose Bowl. I think it's going to be Georgia over Florida State, and I don't remember where the other playoff game is played this year, but I think it's going to be Georgia over Florida State, and I think Michigan over Georgia in the national championship game. This is a year. I've said that a few years before, but I think this is a year.
This is your year. Honestly, I can totally get behind that. Now, my sweet friends who are getting married this weekend, who are a Georgia-Michigan couple, it might not be good for the newlyweds, but I really do think that Michigan, and maybe it's me wishful thinking because, I'm like Alabama all the way. I'm not naive. I know what happened to us on my birthday weekend against Texas, okay? And I know what has almost happened to us several other times. I'm going to give it a go blue. All right? I'm going to give it a go blue, and I'm going to say this is Michigan's year. Go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue. So before we go, I know that we only have a few more weeks left until Christmas, a few more podcasts left, especially with me and Mark traveling all the time. We might not get to talk to Wen again, but I think that Christmas traditions are the most important things in the whole entire world. And Mark and I've talked about ours in the past, but Wen, as we get to know you as the new, not even the newest Beacon team member anymore, we got Ben now, but as a newer Beacon team member, this is our first Christmas together. So Wen, tell us about some of your Christmas traditions. Is your tree already up? Was it up before Thanksgiving? Are you one of us? Was it up before Thanksgiving? Do you have your big meal on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? How does your family do Christmas? What gets you amped about the holidays?
I think my favorite Christmas tradition is one that I'm just starting this year, and that's just being on Decaf during the Christmas season. So I'm sure you'll see me again in a couple of weeks.
This is what he does to me, okay? Y'all heard him at first comparing Blake to Alabama football players, saying I was a catch. Now we're at the end of the podcast, and he's just tugging on those heartstrings. He's going to destroy me as I'm sitting here in the glow of my Christmas tree. Yeah, Wen, you'll be back next week. Don't even worry about it, honey. But for now, what else you got? What else bumps you?
Yeah, we put our Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving. We like.
Yeah,
I love having the Christmas tree just in the living room.
Soft glow of the lights. It just feels so correct.
Exactly. I am not a Christmas. I mean, some people are a little bit, in my view, Christmas haters, but I'm a Christmas lover because it's a time to, bring joy to your life and to be grateful for the things in your life and just, be with family. And I think those are all very important things in my view. And, one part of Christmas that I don't love as much, but I get is all the gift giving. If I was able to run my perfect world, I would just probably either give other people money and they can give me money, or I'll give them gift cards and they can give me gift cards. But just like giving presents and then like trying to shop for presents and then getting a bunch of like socks and mugs and stuff like that, I'm like, one day.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so funny. I'm a great gift giver because I'm a listener. And every time someone says something that they might possibly want, I'm like clocking it, putting it in a note. And I give great gifts. Receiving gifts gives me so much anxiety because I'm so picky. And so this year, I put together a Christmas list in a note on my phone with links and sizes and everything specifically what I want. And I sent it to my mother, my sister, and Blake. And so this year, I'm like, stick to the list and I won't be stressed because there's nothing worse. And this is so horrible. And luckily, Blake's a great gift giver. And my mom and my sister are great gift givers. I've never dealt with this with them, but I've dealt with this with other people. You open your gift and you're like, oh, I love it. Like, you know what I mean? And then you just feel like trash because I'm not a great actress. And so I just, you know, as long as everyone sticks to the list, nobody has to be afraid.
I love
It's
that.
just, isn't that so uncomfortable? Like, you have anxiety about the gift thing too. It's like, let me pick out something that I like. Just give me a budget. Like, but I love opening gifts, and my family does such a good job. My mom is so generous with gifts, and she really is good. But I'm very thankful that the only 3 people that I will be receiving gifts from this year are good, and that I never in my life have to worry about again opening a gift and having to fake excitement. It's just the worst. I mean,
Yeah.
what does your family do, like Secret Santa, or do y'all do experiences? Like, what is y'all's like? Do y'all do like a thing, or do you have to look in the bag and say, "Oh, thank you so much"?
They do a lot of socks and mugs.
Okay, so that's why you brought that up specifically.
If they listen to Decaf, though, they definitely do not do that. I'm talking about someone else.
You're a stone cold savage. That was so savage. Okay, so Wynn's family, look alive, because you're not making the cut. It's so bad. Well, I think that our main takeaway from the day is that Wynn is an absolute savage, is not afraid to call out his own family on the podcast, and hopefully they don't listen. And number 3, do not get Wynn a coffee mug or a pair of socks, because he will absolutely burn you up on the internet. That's so bad. I'm obsessed. Wynn, you're one of my favorite people to have on the podcast. May you have a Christmas that is filled with anything but coffee mugs and socks. And I'm sure we'll see you again before Christmas. Who am I kidding? Guys, thanks for listening today. If you have not seen our lawsuits online, go to beacontn.org, click right up at the top on legal cases, scroll down, and you'll see all the cases we have going on. The stories of our food trucks plaintiffs, so compelling, so great. If you see a food truck in Nashville, in the name of Christmas and in the name of Taylor, go out and get you a little snack. You won't regret it. They're great entrepreneurs. We will support them any way we can. Keep your eyes open for more news about the ESA program that Governor Lee has proposed. We'll be putting out a lot of educational material on that so that everyone can really understand it and get behind a statewide universal school choice program, just like we always have been throughout Beacon's history. We're so thrilled that so many great things are happening. Roll Tide. Win.
Go Blue.
All right, we'll take it. If you don't already, you should subscribe to Decaf on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. From us, happy holidays a few weeks early. Merry Christmas, but we're all in the Christmas spirit already. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.